I decided to open a haunt because of an experience that I had when I was younger. I worked at March of Dimes for 13 years, and I can remember the day I walked in there. I drank a lot when I was a kid, and I drank so much I was probably not even, I shouldn't even have been walking. And I remember stumbling into the building is really what happened, and I get into the building and they were like, "Oh, are you here to work?" And I was like, "Work? I don't work. I don't know what you're talking about." And they were like, No, it's a haunted house. We're gonna dress you up and let you scare people." Yeah, I'm definitely down for that. And so they put me into makeup, put me into costumes, and hearing somebody come by, and I jumped out and I scared them so bad they fell back on their butt. And I was like, "Oh my God, I'm in." That was the last day I drank. I committed to the haunted house every day. I would walk all the way from my house to this haunted house. I'd work every night. I pretty much straightened up. I think it's what kept me on the straight and narrow at the time. I mean, it could have been disastrous. I started doing everything. I started doing makeup. I started doing costumes. I started doing my own room and the whole areas. And so I started from top to bottom. And I told myself that, if I could ever do something like that and find a creepy place to do it, I was going to open up a haunt.
I started out here doing ghost tours, and from there I went to the haunted house side of it and met Kim as the love of my life. We got married, and here I am. The building started construction in 1949 and opened in 1953, and from there it was a community hospital. After the community hospital shut down, it was turned into a nursing home, and we came in on part of the hospital that they don't use, and we took over as a haunted house.
I got to this town and found out there was nothing here for these kids to do. They run amok, and when you do that, you find trouble. I know, that was me. I found that there was a need for something that I had. Somebody looked out for me when I was that age. When you're in that position as a kid, you feel like you don't belong, or I had a great family life. I had a huge family. I mean, there was 8 of us, and my mother was very loving. But as a teen, that's the farthest from what you believe as a family, and it's so weird, but that's how it works. And so the haunted house to me was my family. This community needed that for that group of children. And so when I came across that location and I seen the building sitting up on the hill, it all kind of flooded to me. That's what you can do.
Right when I started Asylum, it was my second year, I think. Yeah, it was the beginning of my second year. I was 2 months pregnant. And I went through all of Asylum pregnant. Basically, a lot of kids at Asylum don't really know that I have a son. Like, they're really not supposed to, because and I placed him for adoption with another family member who could not have kids. If I just wound up not having Asylum, being completely alone, not having anyone, I probably would still be a mother, and I would be with a very abusive, drug-using alcoholic.
Without Asylum, to this day, I probably would honestly be dead, just because this Asylum's the only reason why I've wanted to keep myself around. The time between last year and the year before that, I had a lot of problems at home. That had been a really, really hard time for me, and I tried to overdose, and I was really surprised, actually, that I even woke up the next morning. Then I ended up coming back to Asylum, and I realized that even if I feel alone ever, then I still have people here, and there's always people that are by my side and people who care.
It takes the kids that are in school that are more of the so-called outcast loners, and it gives them family and friends. If they have issues with their mom and dad, they can come and talk to an adult and not be judged for it, not be told you're doing this wrong and, it's your fault. And in some cases, we've had the parents come up and we all talk as a group to work things out. So it's more of a way for the kids to get to step away from reality in this day and age.
Asylum's helped my social life. Well, I've had all my girlfriends I met here. I met my wife here. She was walking through the hallway. I do my part, and she gets out, and I turn to my co-actor in the room. I'm like, wow, who was that? She's like, I think it was Mason's girlfriend. I'm like, well, Mason's about to lose a girlfriend then.
What I'd be doing before I started acting here, I would probably be sitting alone in my room, being fairly lonely, succumbing to mental illnesses probably, and not getting out much, talking to anybody, doing anything.
So I have been at Asylum for just 4 years now. When I started, never acted in my life. I did talk to Dusty like 2 years before I even actually auditioned here, because I wanted to see what the place was like. My parents were also there. They didn't like it at all. They were just like, this place is weird. This is a freak show. This is not okay. They always thought maybe these kids were taking evil spirits home with them and everything. They were just judging this place so harshly. It was worth it to me to be here every day, to see all these kids. They would tell me that they really appreciated what I did. That's when I started feeling like, you know what, Asylum actually is my passion. Because not just taking care of the kids and having something to do, it was the one thing I actually kept doing, because all through high school I just kind of tried this, tried that, gave up, and Asylum's the only thing I've held on to.
All my friends, I met them here. Kim is like an uncle or a dad to me, and same with Dusty and all them. I feel like they're more of my family than my own family. They're a bunch of antisocial weirdos.
Your eyes smell so wonderful. I just feel now. Fellow sinner, your day of reckoning has come. We plan to attack God and beg for life. What brings you to my home? And see what's building!
When I started to put this together, it was never about the money. It was never about the fame. It was fame. But really, that doesn't really have anything to, there's no fame here. There's a ton of work. And every year, I tell myself, oh my God, that's so much work. And at the end of Halloween, at the end of the season, it's worth it every time. And to see the involvement that these kids have, and to see the leverage that these parents hold over their children when they come to volunteer here. We pride ourselves on trying to make sure that the kids have really good grades, and if they're not doing well, put them with somebody that is. If they're not doing very well, the parents can call up at any second and say, hey, kid's not going. I've taken cast members and embarrassed the hell out of them in front of an entire cast for doing stupid stuff, sloughing, getting bad grades, and when you are in front of your peers like that and people that you're bonded with, that's a powerful strength. It's a great motivator. Are we gonna save all of them? I'm not crazy. There's a reality here, and the reality is that probably not. But are we gonna save one? Yeah, and one's better than none. I was that one.
One in specific, I remember she came to us several years ago, and the first words out of her mouth were, "I'm schizophrenic and I just got out of the mental hospital." And we just smiled and said, "Good, welcome." That's perfect. And as the years has gone on, she's actually been able to do well. She hasn't been back in the mental hospital. Her mother is just thrilled, said that she hasn't been able to be herself and express herself and be comfortable in her own skin for a long time. And now she's also painting paintings that we put in our concessions and sell for her so that she has a platform to express and sell her art. And she is just magnificent. She's brilliant.
I remember early on we used to do these dance programs. And this kid shows up and he had this bandana around his face. And he says, I want to do the dance. And I just thought, perfect. And I remember him showing up to rehearsal and he had the bandana on. And I went up to him and I said, hey, you got to take it off. And he said, no, I can't do that. So what do you mean you can't do that? Yeah, you can. You just untie it and take it off.
He walked up and straight told me, I needed to take it off. I needed to remove it. And I was like, well, I can't. I didn't want to.
And he said, no, my face is really weird. I don't want to take it off. I said, have you looked around? We're all weird. And so he pulled it off, and he just had this look of worry on his face. I said, dude, you look like Jay Leno. There ain't nothing wrong with that. The dude makes millions a year. I said, you're not no worse than he is. You're no worse than any of us.
He made me laugh, and he really brightened my mood up. He kind of pulled me out of my funk that day, and I didn't wear the bandana again. Not around my face, at least.
And today, that kid is one of my mainline actors. He's one of my coaches. He teaches all these kids that were just like him when he came, that it's okay to be different. So that part to me is exactly what we're about, the belonging, and it's okay to be different.
It's fun to watch where you have a child that is 4 foot nothing, and they're shy and they're not sure about themselves at the time, and they take a grown man that's 6'2", 260 pounds, and have the guy crying in fear, and the kid loves it. If you've been here long enough, you've seen it's changed all of us, and not for the bad.
So our future plans are definitely to continue to contribute to the well-being of the community. And so we're starting a wellness clinic on the other side where you have things in the way of your own characteristic care and your creative care.
I'm excited to see what they start on the other side because it's going to give these kids a chance to learn things that they maybe can't learn at school. There's only so many classes you can take in school, and then they could come here and learn things that they maybe just want to try out, maybe see if they enjoy it. And if they do, then they go for it. If not, then they try something else.
And if they want to do something like make an album, they have a platform to do that, or their artistic side to express that in some way and actually have it benefit their everyday life and not as just a hobby. I know that a lot of people in Tooele are extremely talented. They have this talent that's just bursting from them, and they don't have anywhere to express that or even to use that in their everyday lives. So we're going to open up that door and bring that to Tooele and show what these kids and even adults have in Tooele that they can share to the rest of the world.
And it's not going to be limited to them. Any kids or any adults can actually come participate. If you've volunteered here one day, if you've worked here for 11 years, we want to be able to make these programs available to you for free. You helped us, we were going to help you.
I honestly was not expecting this from Asylum at all, because when I first got here, I just thought it was just a haunted house, and I didn't think they'd open up a whole nother side of the building to help these kids, because that's what I've always loved about Asylum, is because it's not just the haunt, it's not just the season, it's actually like giving the kids the chance to find themselves.
I'm completely excited about what this future brings. It's to see even some of our cast, what they've come and what they've built. I have cast members that are doing makeup. I have cast members that are doing special effects. I've got a cast member that ran off to Nashville right now to record his album.
I can't wait to see all of the good that comes out of it. I can't wait to see the talent. I can't wait to see the happiness.
And to see that all of that comes from this little town of Tooele, this little haunted house that we've built.
This project is so big in its scope for such a small town.
And that's why I've employed some of these cast members to help out or take over. I want to own the #1 haunted house in the nation that helps more community kids than anybody else on the planet.
It's a big, disturbed family, but it's what we love.